Imagine waking up to a world without coffee, fresh fruit, crunchy almonds, or even that comfy cotton t-shirt you're wearing. No, this isn't some post-apocalyptic nightmare. It's a glimpse into what life could look like if bees disappeared from the planet. Sounds dramatic? Maybe. But this tiny, buzzing insect, often underestimated or even swatted at, is holding up more of our modern life than you might think. If the bees go, the ripple effect isn't just about losing honey. It's about dismantling the very systems that feed and clothe us. Let's get something straight. Bees aren't just cute little bugs that pollinate flowers for fun. They're tireless workers playing a critical role in our global food production. Every time a bee flits from flower to flower, it's actually performing a complex, highly efficient act of pollination, transferring pollen from the male parts of a plant to the female parts, which allows the plant to reproduce. And while it might sound like basic biology, this process is the very reason why around 70% of the fruits, vegetables, seeds, and nuts we eat exist. That's right, 70%. Take a look at your next meal. If there's an apple, a tomato, a handful of berries, or even a sprinkle of almonds on top, chances are a bee helped bring it to your plate. This level of productivity translates to about $200 billion in global agricultural revenue. So yeah, we're not just talking about a few flowers here. We're talking billions of dollars, livelihoods, and food security all hanging in the balance. And it's not just the food. A large part of modern agriculture depends on commercial bee colonies that are raised, maintained, and transported by professional beekeepers for the sole purpose of pollination. These bees are trucked across countries to farms and orchards to help fertilize crops that otherwise couldn't reproduce effectively. It's like Uber for bees. Except instead of dropping you off at brunch, they're literally making your brunch possible. But here's where things get alarming. Since 2006, beekeepers have been sounding the alarm over a strange and disturbing phenomenon now known as colony collapse disorder. Seemingly overnight, entire hives of bees have vanished. Not dead, just gone. Abandoned. In some cases, up to 90% of a beekeeper's colony simply flies away and never returns. And this isn't a one-off occurrence. It's been happening globally, year after year. What's behind this mass exodus? The suspects are many. Mites, parasites, viruses, and poor nutrition in commercial bee populations are all in the mix. But there's one name that keeps popping up. And it's not a friendly one: neonicotinoids. These are a class of insecticides used to protect crops from pests. The problem? They're also harming the bees that help those crops grow in the first place. Neonicotinoids are neurotoxic chemicals that mess with a bee's brain, disrupting their ability to navigate, forage, and communicate. Imagine trying to drive home from work but forgetting where you live, who you are, and what your job was. That's essentially what happens to bees exposed to these pesticides. And since bees bring contaminated nectar back to the hive, the damage doesn't stop with the individual. It spreads to the entire colony. But pesticides aren't the only issue. Longer, harsher winters, loss of wildflower habitats, and a lack of genetic diversity in commercial bees all make the situation worse. Together, these factors are creating a perfect storm that could collapse entire ecosystems, starting with the bees, but certainly not ending there. Let's talk about the domino effect. If bee populations continue to fall, entire food chains could unravel. Take almonds, for example. Not only are they a popular snack and an ingredient in everything from granola to milk substitutes, but the husks of almonds are also used as livestock feed. Fewer almonds means fewer animals fed, which means less milk, less cheese, fewer eggs, and higher prices for all of it. Oh, and forget your morning latte. Bees pollinate Arabic coffee plants too. Even our clothing industry would take a hit. Think bees have nothing to do with your wardrobe? Think again. Bees help pollinate cotton, one of the most widely used and profitable crops in the world. Cotton makes up about 35% of the textile fibers we use globally. Without it, say goodbye to jeans, bed sheets, high-quality paper, and basically half your closet. So what would our diets look like in a beeless world? You'd be left with a sad, beige buffet of wind-pollinated crops like wheat, rice, and corn. These grains don't rely on bees, which is good news for survival, but not so great for nutrition or taste. No vibrant salads, no colorful fruits, just a whole lot of starch and repetition. And this isn't just about food shortages. It's also about economic impact. The agricultural industry would face a massive hit. sending shockwaves through global markets, food prices, and employment. The cost of pollination would skyrocket as we try to replace bees with manual labor or robotic alternatives, which, let's be honest, are nowhere near as efficient or sustainable. Now let's be real. The extinction of bees doesn't mean the immediate extinction of humans, but it does mean a much more fragile world, economically, nutritionally, and environmentally. A world where scarcity becomes the new normal, and luxuries we take for granted, like fruit, coffee, and even milk, become rare, expensive, or simply unavailable. So the next time you see a bee buzzing around a flower, don't swat it away. Say thanks. That tiny insect might be small, but it's carrying a huge weight on its fuzzy little shoulders. And if we want to keep enjoying the comforts of modern life, from the food on our plates to the clothes on our backs, it's time we started paying attention. Because no bees, no food, no future. If you found this video meaningful, drop a comment below and share your experience. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might find this content useful. And as always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.